Hi, it's great to have you on Your Career Podcast. I'm Jane Jackson, and thank you for listening. If you're a new listener, why not subscribe to this podcast so you're the first to listen to each new episode that'll provide inspiration in your career? Just go to iTunes or Stitcher Radio if you use an Android device and click subscribe. I've also a free Kickstart Your Career audio course that you can find on my Facebook page at facebook.com/Jane Career Coach. See you there.
Welcome to Jane Jackson Careers, a podcast that takes your career to the next level. Here's your host, Jane Jackson, author of Amazon Careers bestseller, Navigating Career Crossroads.
Welcome back to my Careers Podcast, where I interview fascinating professionals who've made amazing career changes. Now today, I have with me Stephanie Campanella, who is the director of Summit Digital, a boutique web studio specialising in custom online business projects, and director of Tradies Get Online, helping tradies generate more leads by smarter online marketing. She was a 2013 Action Coach finalist for Young Entrepreneur of the Year and the Hills District Local Business Awards finalist in 2014 for Outstanding Business Person of the Year. Through Summit Digital, Stephanie works with ambitious companies who are struggling to generate leads online, and she creates a systematized approach to define your customer and how to grab their attention. She has a personal goal, which is to make an impact to 1,000 Australian businesses through her digital marketing knowledge, and she works with driven business owners, entrepreneurs, and teams who want to be found online. Her main focus is on the construction trade industry and property markets and real estate agent marketing. So let's welcome Stephanie to the show. Hi, Stephanie.
Hey, Jane. Thanks for having me.
Oh, nice to have you on the show. And as you know, I always kick off my podcast with finding out a little bit about your career journey. And so how about, just to start us off, what were your early career aspirations when you were a little girl?
I really had no idea what I was going to do as a little girl. I was very creative and I was good with the computer. And so my mum just pushed me into the graphic design sector. And then I guess the rest is history. At graphic design college, I jumped onto web design. I was amazing at that. And then my career just sort of drove into this direction from there, basically.
Okay, so graphic design, web design had always been a passion for you, and that's how your career has progressed throughout. So what was your first job when you finished uni?
So when I got out of studies, my lecturer basically told me, Steph, just go and get a job in web. I know you haven't studied it full time, but you're just acing this course. So just get out there and start doing it. So that's exactly what I did. I went out and got a little job in a small business. And I guess from there, they dragged me around to all these marketing workshops. And I was actually talking to Brian Scher yesterday, just thanking him. You know, in 2009, I met him, and, you know, that small conversation had such a massive impact on my career. So I started a little business, and then I went to a larger studio. I then got retrenched and broke my heart. But then the next day, I just stood up and made some calls and started getting some work in, and that's it. I built a team, and the rest is history.
So because of the redundancy, that's when you thought, I'll set up my own business. So freelancing initially until you actually created Summit Digital.
Yeah. I was just stephaniecampanella.com.au for a little while until I realised this is it. This is what I want to do. And then, off I went.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing, isn't it, how sometimes what you might see as a setback is actually a blessing in disguise, and it probably gave you the courage to go out on your own. Was that something that you'd thought about or wanted to do earlier on, to run your own business?
Oh, never. It never crossed my mind, ever, when I was in the working days. People were always asking me, can you help? But I was working in the city and living in Castle Hill, and by the time you get home at night, you're exhausted. So there was no way I was fitting in any freelance work. I was just working full time. The redundancy was just the shock of my life. It was It was at 1:00. I'll never forget it. I couldn't even get a bus home because there were no buses going from the city to Castle Hill at the time. So not only did I lose my job, I was stranded, and I had to wait till the afternoon to get home. So it was this whole experience. And yeah, it gave me the courage to take a step and to take command of this ship.
Yeah, actually, so that would have been a really dark day, actually. It's like, what am I going to do next? But, it's so interesting because sometimes, people think, oh, I'm not really happy here, or I don't really like this, and I want to go, but I'm afraid to take that next step. But it sounded like you were pretty happy with what you were doing. And then suddenly with the redundancy, where it's something that's out of your control, it really knocks you about quite a bit, doesn't it? Yeah. How long did it take you to come up with the idea of, okay, what am I going to do next?
So not long at all. I mean, I got retrenched in March and I had my first paid freelance job in April. So within 30 days, I was on the road, basically.
Yeah. How good is that? And so with web design, obviously, it's, there's great demand. And so when you set up your business, how did that evolve?
I think it evolved from a mindset perspective over the years, like thinking, oh, it's just me, or I'm just going to do a few little things, or oh, I'm going to need more help. How can I get more help to do this? I'm the best. And then realizing, well, if you're going to grow a business, you need to let go, you need to delegate more. So yeah, it's just over time, there's a big mindset change. And I guess your confidence grows over the years as well, and you start to get a little bit sharper with your tact.
Yeah. And now you run two businesses. One is Summit Digital, which is your main business. And then you have Tradies Get Online. And
yes.
So tell me about both. Tell me about Tradies Get Online first, and then let's go into everything Summit Digital does.
Well, okay. So, I mean, Summit Digital is the everyday business. Now, I built Tradies Get Online as a niche business because my whole family are tradesmen and I wanted to help them go to market. My Tradies Get Online product is actually being rebranded at the moment, and then it's going to re-hit the market. So that's really awesome. And it's basically helping tradesmen market themselves better in a productized kind of way. So that's awesome. So Summit Digital, it covers a wide range of services. So we do branding, we do websites, we do SEO, we do pay-per-click, we do content marketing, social media. So from a client's perspective, they're not going to get pigeonholed into a single service. I can look at the business and go, right, we actually, some pay-per-click would be good because we can see the spend versus the lead generation here. Or actually, if we put some content together and amplify that online, then we're going to get better return for our investment. So it's nice to be able to cross so many facets of digital marketing to provide the best solution for each business.
And so now with Tradies Get Online and your rebranding, do you have a new name for them?
No, actually. No, so Tradies Get Online is still Tradies Get Online because I think that's still the best name for it.
And so now, running a business, Stephanie, and this is your own business and you have a team around you, what were the challenges of actually setting up the business and making it grow?
It's probably software. It's management of projects and tasks. It's time on the job. It's stress intake. How much stress are you willing to take on? How many jobs are you willing to take on? It's all the little systems that you need to put in place ASAP. Otherwise, you'll just run yourself to the ground.
So say if someone wanted to set up their own business and having done it, and started from the ground upwards, what would your advice be when it comes before they even set up the business? What thought process do you think they should go through?
Be really clear on what you're going to do, and pick a niche. Because, I mean, when I niched Tradies Get Online, I had, everyone from High Pages and Trade Busters and all these trade-specific programs, I had them all coming directly to me. Whereas in Summit Digital, those kind of relationships, I had to technically bridge that gap. So as soon as I niched, it was like I amplified the conversation between other trade specialists and me. Like I even had a tradie balm guy come to me saying that he sells a balm for tradies and the two of us could work. Like it's just when you niche, things just seem to click.
Mm-hmm.
So niche.
Yeah.
Focus on one thing and niche.
Yeah, so often entrepreneurs think, oh, if I'm going to market myself, I need to offer lots and lots of services, and they cast the net really wide, and you end up not being an expert in anything. Whereas I think if someone wants something done, they're going to be looking for someone who specializes in that one thing, because that's what they do all day, every day. Makes me think of an ad that I hear on the radio so much. The slogan is, when you do conveyancing every day, you get very, very good at it. And that's all he does. It's conveyancing. You probably heard an ad on the radio as well.
I think it's in Parramatta.
Okay. I can't remember the name of the business, but I know he just does conveyancing.
When all you do is conveyancing, you get very good at it. That's what the jingle is.
We all know the jingle. And so for you, getting that niche for the tradies, that means that you had a captive audience already. And then from there, then you branched out rather than the other way around. So I think probably the mistake that a lot of entrepreneurs, they're too broad to start off with.
Yeah. And running the Tradies Get Online niche for tradies has then brought Summit Digital back to, well, we just mostly deal in property. We deal in large construction, we deal in real estate, we deal in property brokers, property sell, it's property. So it's really brought that back as well.
Yeah. And so tell me about some of the most interesting assignments and projects that you've worked on so far.
I don't know. I always say that because I was in a small business and then I went to a large studio, and I worked on, in the small business, I worked on Larry's Plumbing. And then in a large business, I worked on David Jones. For me, it doesn't matter how big or small your business is. It still matters because you've still got goals to complete and etc. So I can't really say that I've had one job that has just been the bee's knees or the most exceptional, or I love everything that comes in, I guess. It's really, I can't think of one project that has blown my mind. I don't know, they all do.
Well,
they all matter.
Yeah, if you love what you do, then everything's really good. And so say if there was a tradie who's just starting out, and maybe he's a master plumber and he wants to get into his own business, and if he came to you, and because you help build web pages and help them to market, what process would you take this tradie through in order to become even more successful?
I'd make sure that he's got a business blueprint, something that he can follow, so that whenever a lead comes in, there's a system that he has to follow to make sure that he gets that lead. Tradies are the worst when it comes to calls coming in, and they might be up a ladder on a roof in a ditch. They'll get a call come in and then they'll completely forget about it, and that it'll come the afternoon, they're exhausted, they'll sit down, that lead gets lost. If you have a blueprint in place of a way to capture all the new leads coming in, or just the way that you're doing your everyday business, then you're going to be more successful faster. So setting up those systems and what you want to do and what you don't want to do is so important.
Okay, so once they've captured their leads through a system that maybe you help them set up on a website, how do you help them to actually build the business and market themselves even further?
Yep. So again, depending on what section, like what type of tradie they are, and then what they're offering, is going to depend on what is going to be best needed for them. So it's hard to say exactly what the next steps are, but anytime we do any work with tradies, the ones that have the most success, if we're doing pay-per-click or SEO, the tradies that actually have success are the ones that have systems in place, so that when we bring them the leads, they actually do something about it. There's somewhere where the leads go, they get checked, there's a pipeline, they get followed through, they get a thank you, they get everything is done the same way every time. Whereas when we work with tradies that don't really have a system, it'll be okay, I'll get to that, everything just falls apart. So a system of how to register all your jobs, or to register your cold leads, etc., there needs to be a system or a piece of software in place for it.
Yeah. And I think especially for tradies, that would be so important because they probably, and they enjoy what they do and, they're very good with their hands, but the marketing side of things is not something that they would learn about.
Yeah, never.
And so many tradies that I know, they tend to rely mainly on referrals to say, so-and-so would recommend me. And I'm sure that's where most of their business comes from. But, during a time when it might be a bit quieter, if they don't have a marketing system and a way to capture all those leads, they're letting money really through the holes, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. You can't just rely on word of mouth because it dries up. And if you allow your customers to forget about you, well, then you're going to miss the next potential job. So there needs to be a system in place so that everyone that you work with has some sort of touch point with you, so they can be followed up. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And what do you enjoy most about running your two businesses?
I just love injecting myself into another business and understanding what they need and what they desire, and then putting a process in place so that we can attack it, really. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what we do day to day.
Yeah, I guess every day is a little bit of a challenge. And so, Stephanie, if I was to say to you, what would be the top 3 tips for success? What would you advise?
Oh, so you've got to write content. Any brand online, if you're not creating content, then you will soon fall to the bottom of the pack, I guess. So that's written content for a blog or that's social media. You've got to have a good website. Your website is the foundation of every other marketing activity that you're ever going to do, especially in the trade industry. I used to get, I've got a Facebook page. Is that okay? And it's like, well, it's not, because then Facebook governs everything that you want to do for your business. When you have a website, you control all of the activities and everything that's going on with your marketing. So you get to call the punches, basically. Thirdly, what's my third tip? Network. You need to get out there and talk to people. Tradies, the construction industry is the best at this. They hang out in small groups. The developer hangs out with the architect hangs out with the environmental council guy. Like, there are little groups happening. And if you're a tradie and you're not got a good connection of, a good accountant or a good architect or whatever it is that needs to be in your sphere, then you're going to find it harder to generate leads from referral, or you won't have a referral strategy, or you've just got a, hey, can anyone call me strategy.
So content marketing is important. You've got to create content to push it out there. Have a good website so that you can drive traffic to the website and people can do something when they get to your website. And then to network with your peers and extended network as well to generate more leads. So those are really valuable tips. I just want to mention, you were saying about so many businesses think, I've got a Facebook page, a Facebook business page, and that will be enough. So dangerous, isn't it?
So dangerous.
Just to have that.
Yep, you don't control anything. Even with high pages, if all you've got is a high pages listing, if all you have is a directory listing or a yellow pages, you don't control anything and you don't hold anything. So say you've run a yellow pages advertisement for the last 20 years and now you're big enough to, maybe put some more content into place. You've not even got a website. Everything that Yellow Pages has done has stayed on Yellow Pages. None of that is transferred over to your domain or your website. So you've got nothing. So you must have your website. You must have your foundation for everything else that you're going to do in marketing.
Yeah. Without a website, you can't really be Googleable. So, if you want someone... if you want someone to Google you and find you, then they're going to Google you and they'll probably find LinkedIn first. But most tradies won't be on LinkedIn because it's a little bit on LinkedIn. But Facebook doesn't often come up to the top on page 1 on Google. But if you've got your website and you've done your SEO and you've got all the right keywords and you're on page 1, then people can find you. You will be Googleable. That's the important thing, isn't it?
If you want to be in the running, you have to have a good website.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder why tradies are so reluctant. Is it because they just haven't thought about it, or they don't want to toot their own horn too much?
I don't know why they're reluctant to get online. There's a big change in the market. Obviously, the older generation are passing on the businesses to the youngest generations, etc. So there is a big change in the market at the moment, and all the younger generation are coming into the older generation, and they're saying, "Look, Dad, we need this, we need this." So there is a big change going on in the marketplace. And so often too, tradies don't want to be bothered by technology, and I don't need it. I've just got a phone. People just call me. They haven't really got that mindset of you actually don't have to do the work. All you need to do is run the business. You don't even have to jump in the trench. You can get someone else to do that for you. So there's a level of mindset that needs to change there, and trust and delegation. And then there's a level of old school tactics versus new school, technology.
Mm-hmm. So important. So I reckon anyone who's listening who is a tradie or who's contemplating becoming a tradie, one of the people that you need to talk to first is Stephanie Campanella, because she'll set you on the right track. But I think
exactly
because coming from a family where, a family of tradies as well, you understand the psyche, don't you? You understand all the challenges and the obstacles and the, I'm tired at the end of the day because I'm doing all this physical work or whatever. But
I smell like cement.
Yes. Yeah. And I think the old way of, just having the referrals, although that is important, it's just not enough anymore, because it's becoming quite a crowded marketplace, isn't it?
It's massively crowded. Yep. And may the best tradie win, basically. People need things and in an instant. Yeah. And if they can't find you and they can't connect with you, you don't get the job, no matter how good your relationship was.
Mm-hmm. And so if someone wants to find you, Stephanie, where can they find you?
Well, if you just Google my name, Stephanie Campanella, you'll get a range of, you'll get my LinkedIn, you'll get my personal website, you'll get the Summit Digital site, you'll get the Tradies Get Online site, you'll probably get my personal Facebook. So, if you Google Stephanie Campanella or Summit Digital or Tradies Get Online, you'll be able to connect with me. You can fill out a form and I'll get that straight away and be able to follow you up. I'm even on Twitter, Stephania_M_C. I'm on pretty much every platform, so if you look, you'll find me.
Well, what I'll do, Stephanie, is on my show notes on janejacksoncoach.com, I'll have all of the links where people can find you, so that they can get their websites done and they can get online and get the tradies moving and marketing themselves effectively. So thank you so much for your time. It's been such a pleasure talking to you.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Jane. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Stephanie. Bye. If you'd like to find out how coaching can help you, visit janejacksoncoach.com, where not only will you be able to listen to other fascinating interviews from professionals who've made amazing career changes, you'll also be able to download some free ebooks and guides on how to manage your career effectively.
You've been listening to Jane Jackson Careers. Sign up to receive regular career advice at janejacksoncoach.com.